if you can hear me. We back up and running with that laptop, baby. I got it. I want you to notice something. I'm not wearing a top right now. I'm in my room. All I have is my handy dandy comforter, okay? But you ever notice I wear like tank tops and spaghetti straps? It literally looks the same, just a strap on the side. What's the difference? What's the difference? What's the difference? Uh, don't mind the tear. There was no crying. Okay, I woke up. You know, you do the yawn. "Ah." I haven't washed my face yet, and then I went outside. I've been outside already. I've already been complimented for the day. I was told I was beautiful, and then the next person told me I did a great job with the laundry room. So, hallelujah. Okay. So my morning has already started great, but I'm not perfect. I often say I'm perfect because my belief is, perfect is the one who accepts their flaws with poise. Okay. So I've never said that I was perfect. In fact, like this entire channel speaks on my imperfections. But I do want to talk about a few things. We'll start with the most important to me, which is the fact that I talk about G in private a lot, but in private, what's supposed to be private, it's not private because you are doing whatever it is you're doing, hacking. I know my phone is hacked. Here's the thing about I got a new phone. I got a new phone number, and all the same weird things that happen on my phone still happen. So, I've been talking about the hacker. That's my. Not all likes are free. Is the very first video. Not all likes are free. Um, so I know, I can't tell you all the ways, whether it be a group chat, uh, a Snapchat, you know, hacking my phone. Aaron just said last night he always has a feeling that somebody is watching him that is not me. He said that last night because we're very spiritually in tune. But because of that, it's supposed to be in private. It's not in private. It doesn't really matter if I trusted the person or not. It's never about that. I am constantly looking for advice that I don't have to pay for. I want genuine, us two women usually, to discuss how we're treated, um, discuss how we're treated, and encourage each other to be treated differently. Okay, so um, you know what I found? I noticed women who claim they're not male centered or like whatever, they tend to be more male centered. For instance, the neighbor wasn't really trying to do friend like things with me, but as soon as a man came on the scene, she got real upset when confronted with and it wasn't with me. I didn't confront her about anything, but her she had a conflict. The person that came into their lives, it was her and her child, but her child's an adult. They were they made a mutual friend, and when the daughter got uncomfortable, her mother got upset about it. She doesn't have any friends, but I was trying to be her friend. She's actually more male centered than me. Just because she's saying she's not dating, she would rather like try to focus on trying to get a male friend than deal with the feminine friend that was here to assist her. So I'm not actually as male centered as people think, just because I talk about men in my life, my private life. Because there would be no man that would ever like keep me from my friends, at least now. When I was young, my oldest child was able to do that, but that was a lesson that I had to learn. as I got older, you know. But anyways, I do talk about him a lot in private. Ironically, but no things are coincidences, right? Um, if you seek Amy, when we were hanging out, she had asked me, who would you want to sleep with if you could sleep with right now? And I said him, and then he showed up. Like, he didn't call, or he didn't like show up in my space, but within days of saying that, he texted me. So you already knew. You know what I'm saying? You already knew. And I only turned you down because of where I was living at the time. And I still didn't like how I was treated, which was a topic of the conversation of, hey, I don't like how I'm being treated, and yada yada. But if I had a better place, I would have. At the time, I probably would have still let you come over, and we could have talked it out, because we do plenty of that, you know. Um, and then, you know, when I first met you, I talked to my cousin about you a lot. I talked to, you know, other people, two people, you know, and I said a lot of things. And I don't believe that to be right. In my confusion, like I said, I was looking for a lot of advice, like down to earth, woman to woman, not my therapist that I paid for, that is paid to say the healthiest, best thing, right? I needed like the advice of true women. And, you know, though the majority of you women didn't like me at first, you still gave the appropriate advice, which is just that I didn't deserve how I was being treated. So I couldn't appreciate any of you any more than already have. And you need to know that you did help me also, you know. Um, but I also don't think I ever demonstrated to any of you a lack of appreciation. Okay. So y'all need to make sure that when you speak on me, you speak on the appreciation that I showed you for being a listening ear and offering advice. Um, and I want to apologize to G for speaking behind your back. That's the purpose of this video, is just to apologize for speaking behind your back. And also, you know, I initiated a lot of our separations. Like 90% of our separations were initiated by me. You know, this is over. But 100% of them were actually initiated by you, because you ghost me like all the time. I know this is old news, but it's very important, because that push-pull dynamic, we both play a part. I I feel that I've taken a lot of responsibility. I'm not going to apologize to you publicly about the things that were said during those times, because every time when I came back, I apologized. I did a genuine apology. My actions, what I did wrong, what I said wrong, down to the T. Like I repeat what I said and how it was wrong. And I'm not going to re-apologize to you about it, because every single time I led with apologies and I led with change in action. I think the most important thing to remember is there was a post on Instagram by the Secured Relationship that reminds us that two truths can be held at the same time, which is anxious attached partners need to learn how to reach for their partners without going into protest. And on the other hand, anxious attached partners are likely to fall back into protest when their healthy reaches are not responded to. Okay, one side is my fault, the other is not, and I genuinely worked on my side. Like I said, last year we had like a really good year, and I was doing a lot of the healthy reaching. And you know, so I'm not going to sit here. You want me to like talk about how imperfect I am, but I've acknowledged my imperfections to you. This whole channel is about my imperfections. You want me to keep saying I'm wrong, but I've always said I'm wrong. I've always led with apologies. I've always led with ownership and accountability. So it's not anything that I'm about to keep apologizing about, but I do want to acknowledge it, because I don't want what I don't want is to look like I never did anything wrong. It's just that I know and I actively worked on it, and I don't I'm just very big on not doing one thing in private and not speaking on it in the open. I think that's very important. Um so, this entire channel is about the struggles of my attachment issues and where they come from, which, reminder, just in case you don't know, it's emotional incest, but not there's a difference between covert emotional incest and emotional incest. Covert emotional incest has a element of overt incest in it, where emotional incest is simply just on the emotional level with your child. Covert, it's the covert nature. It essentially, they enact emotional incest to hide the incestuous behavior, like the overt incestuous behavior. I just thought I'd bring that up. Give me a moment. Okay, all right.
Hello, everybody. I hope you guys have a great time listening to this.
Okay, well, thank you very much. That was sweet. All right, so yeah, you could do that. I'll be downstairs in just a few moments. So that's all that I have to say. I do have last night also I remembered that I actually did a card pool in March, and I planned on making a video about it a couple days ago. I said I was gonna make a video for you guys in an hour, and it was just to go over that reading. But I forgot until last night, because the energy. Remember, I always say this. Those cards can be interpreted many ways, and I pulled it out because she said something, and I was like, damn, the energy pool was for this specific situation, but because all of you are involved, it's for all of you as well. So at some point I will get that up. I also have to tell you something else. Oh, I can tell you right now. All right. You want me to say that I'm wrong? Okay, now I said that my mother has been stalking me using her job. That's not anything that I heard in the tarot. Like I heard it in the tarot. Everything involved with the tarot for me is confirmation. It's not. I'm looking for something like, something I already thought, and then I hear, oh yeah, you're right. So in 2018, when I was pulled over and detained for a bench warrant, she called me that same night telling me I was speeding, and it was on the report. If that truly was in the report, it's a lie, because he pulled me over solely for the bench warrant. There were no other conversations, tickets, or warnings issued, but she could have only known that because she was hacking, because that same report wasn't even available to me for another 2 weeks. Um, Another person is If You Seek Amy. Interesting. She's just brought up so much, but it's because even that short period of time of knowing me, she did a lot. Okay, and what I noticed, I can't exactly remember what she said to me, but she was using her job to spy on my government assistants. In fact, that's what made me bring there's damn, I don't know when that happened. I mentioned that I had lied about, the way the universe works is so funny, because I said I was about to do another quiz. It came up in the quiz. I lied about how fast I was turning in my documents for stuff, but it was because I thought I had so much faith. Remember, we've talked about faith in the last couple of days. I had so much faith that my situation was going to be turned around quickly that I kind of like held off on doing it. This is now I remember her words. You know that people can see if you're turning that stuff in, right? Because her job actually she has access to that. I think it's like Paris or she has access to that because of her job. So she was what they were watching me to see if I was like actually, you know, applying for benefits. Since everybody thought I was rich and stealing, they thought I was lying to get benefits. There was a lot of weird stuff that was going on at that time. She also used her job to uh to do that. Um and there was something else. What is it? I even avoided changing my address when I moved here because I knew that my mother was stalking, and literally told the people, they want me to change my address, and it's like I can't yet. I can't yet because my mom is watching. I know she's. I told them. Repeatedly told them. It bothers me when people like try to just, oh, you're crazy because I already knew my mom. You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you gonna tell me I'm crazy when I've been raised with this lady for like 35 years? No, you know. But they were. I understand you need me to change my address. I did eventually change it, but I kept telling you that it was going to cause me issues. And almost as soon as I changed it, everybody in the building was being weird as fuck. Like, it's just the creepiest thing. And then there was like some issues with the camera. They kept telling me that the camera was being blocked out at night. Um they couldn't figure out what was going on. And I actually heard that in the tarot too. Somebody was like messing with their internet to cut out the cameras, and likely because there was a girl at the end of the hallway whose name was also Ashley that was prostituting, and you needed to block that out so that people could be confused on which Ashley was prostituting in that building. Okay, so that's just a reminder that um, I saw all these things well before the tarot ever mentioned it. The tarot is being used appropriately, even if it seems excessive, because it confirms everything. Um, Sometimes, you know, that secure relationship, right? Same thing for validation. You must be able to validate your own experience. You must be able to um, validate oneself, but there is nothing wrong with seeking confirmation and validation, as long as it's done in a healthy way. And that is what happened with the tarot. Okay. But I don't know why I wrote this down. This part looks more like I don't know what it is, why I chose to write this down, but I didn't know the identities of some of the individuals, but everything was mostly known. I just didn't have any proof. You know what I'm saying? There was no proof until. Let me see. Let me try to read it word for word. I haven't been reading from my laptop in a while, so I'm kind of doing it just by like looking at it and doing notes. But I like better when I read it, so let's do that. Um, Most everything was known. I just didn't have proof or the players. And the proof is vague, like an account they can't tell me about at the bank. But my documents were enough to tell me that much. And it took 3 banks before I got that much. The bank was in Myrtle Beach. This I got in a reading. Not the bank part, the location. Because someone wanted me to go there to kill me. My cousin told me to avoid Myrtle Beach. All the warning readings from the light side weren't coming through. Okay. I was getting them late, very late. Situations had already transpired by the time I heard them. And I think I've mentioned that part before. But all that was going on, caused me to leave. And I told people I was going to one place, but I still ended up in Myrtle Beach. okay? And I did not experience any physical harm that was intended, because even though I was led there to die, it is where I needed to go. My presence was aligned. I know because a reading that I never considered had anything to do with the location had the angel number 1717. And I know that sounds, that number comes up all the time, okay? So to say like, oh, come on, that's nothing. 17, that number comes up all the time, okay? But the expressway in Myrtle Beach is 17 north and 17 south. And that's the type of vague shit I'm talking about. It's vague. What would make you think hearing 1717 would mean anything about Myrtle Beach? You understand? It shouldn't mean anything, really. It's an angel number. You can look it up. You can find out what the definition is, and just move on with your life. But when I got there and I saw that 1717, it was very significant, because that initial video, it did talk about some of the things that were going on. It did talk about a lot, okay? And ironically, I was video recording my reaction to that video. There was a lot of miraculous things that happened in that video. I still watch that reader to this day because that video. I have the video. I can't post it. One, for their own personal safety, but two, I would have to ask her permission for it. I've thought of sending it to her because she has to know how miraculous. But I'm sure you've probably all seen it because y'all been rummaging through my phone. She never said anything about South Carolina. She never said anything about South Carolina. It was other things within the reading that made me realize that 1717 was a 17 north, 17 south. And I think the bank was on 17 south. But when I went in there, it's the first time. I had went to 3 other banks. I went to the bank, Chase Bank, because remember, I'm going to rob Jamie Dimon. No, I'm just kidding. But that's what I always said. If there was a purge, that would be the first person I would go for, is Jamie Dimon. I went to Chase Bank on East Broad in Columbus, Ohio, downtown. Maine, it's beautiful. I love that branch. Then I went to Chase Bank in Washington, D.C. And then I went to Chase Bank in South Carolina. Myrtle Beach is in South Carolina? Yeah. Whatever happened that day, the way he was moving was so different from the other two. I immediately recognized that he saw something. The other one, okay, the one in Maryland or Washington, D.C., she was a bitch. What's the name on the account? Well, that's not the name. Okay. And that was it. The one before that, he acted like he didn't see nothing. He's like, wait a minute. Click, click. Click, click, click. I said, listen. I spoke to him specifically because his name was interesting. His name was Emmanuel Harris. My last name is Harris. The brother that works at Chase, his name is Emmanuel. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Well, that was weird. Weird synchronicity. And he's doing his little click, 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 click. Well, he didn't even see nothing. He didn't ask me what the name was. Nothing. He just act like he didn't see nothing. Like, okay. But the one in Myrtle Beach is the one that told me there was like, there's something here. I mean, there is something here. Shit, what the fuck? Hold on. There's not much I can tell you. I'm sorry. I'm like, okay. But if there was something here, you're right, it would have went to you. yeah, the readings be real. And whatever happened that day set off a lot. I'm certain of it. But you want me to tell you I'm wrong. I have done wrong, but I'm not wrong. I've apologized to you all at some point. There will be no more apologizing. Y'all have a good day.